Rudolph's Shiny New Year is definitely a fun story and a pretty good idea. It wasn't perfect. I found that my attention was waning a little bit at certain points, but generally, as far as Jules Bass and Arthur Rankin Jr. films go, it's a pretty good one. This was released in 1976, written by Romeo Muller, and it's about to be New Year, but Happy, the New Year baby, has disappeared. He is missing. And Rudolph has agreed to look for the baby New Year because if baby New Year is not found, then there won't be a New Year and it will remain the last day of December forever. And we have some antagonists. There's a bird called Aeon, this vulture. I have to say it looks wonderful. The design of the character is great. The stop motion work here is the usual brilliant quality we can expect from a Bass and Rankin Jr. film. But I feel like maybe there were one too many characters, and ordinarily I prefer films with quite a lot of characters because it means it's just a lot more interesting, there can be more conflict. But the thing about Bass and Rankin Jr. films, particularly their festive or holiday films, is that they're often quite wholesome and simplistic and not overly complicated. And they're an easy, comforting watch that requires minimal effort while still providing a really brilliant narrative. But this one, I feel like there was just too much going on. It was too busy, and they could have told the same story with a bit less padding in a shorter time, and I personally don't feel like I would have missed out on anything. So the pacing isn't great, and I feel like it's a bit too busy, but credit where it's due. When there is a lot going on the screen at any one time, or when a narrative, a section of the narrative is quite quick and packed, it is still very well animated. It doesn't lose quality when it gets busier, which is definitely much to their credit. But I thought it was a nice idea and a pretty decent execution. There are, other films that deal with Baby New Year, but I feel like this is the one that's maybe the one that I've seen. One of the sweetest, I guess, and most unique. I haven't seen one that involves Rudolph before, so I rather liked it. It's definitely not as festive as their Christmas animations, and it is a little bit weird seeing Rudolph in non-festive scenes, but in a way that makes it quite fascinating and just a little bit unexpected. And I thought it was delightful. If you're a fan of Jules Bass and Arthur Rankin Jr. and you've yet to see Rudolph's Shiny New Year, I do recommend it. I believe it does technically follow on from their Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. If you haven't seen that, I recommend you watch it. And if you can, watch it before this one. But because the other one is a pretty traditional story of Rudolph, then as long as you know the general concept of who Rudolph is and the fact that he has a nose so bright, then you'll be able to follow this without problem. Definitely, although it's not perfect, it really is quite charming.